You ever read something and just think, wow, that sounds really smart? Well, the secret usually isn't about using big, fancy words. It's often a simple grammar tool. And in this explainer, we are going to master the one technique that will make your writing feel more polished, more professional, almost instantly.
Just take a look at this. The sentences on the left, they're fine. I mean, they get the job done. But the one on the right, it's just smoother, right? It's more sophisticated. It weaves the two ideas together into one powerful statement. It just flows better.
So what is the secret sauce here? It's not magic, I promise. It's a really powerful little tool called a relative clause. And today we're going to break down exactly how you can master it.
All right, let's dive right in and see how this one tool can take your sentences from being a little clunky and repetitive to something that sounds polished and really professional.
So what is a relative clause? Think of it like a little mini-sentence that you attach to a noun to give it more detail. It's basically a descriptive tag. So instead of saying, here's the report, it was submitted yesterday, you combine them into one sleek sentence. Here's the report that was submitted yesterday. See? It's just more efficient, more elegant.
Now, to make these clauses actually work, you need a special set of words to connect everything. So let's meet the key players in this whole operation, the relative pronouns.
These are the words that kick off a relative clause, and each one has a very specific job. You use who for people, which for things, where for places, you get it. They're like the glue that connects all that extra information directly back to the word it's describing. Okay, now we're getting to what might be the single most important part of all this. The entire meaning of what you're trying to say can actually hinge on one tiny piece of punctuation. Let's look at how a single comma can completely change the game. These two sentences look almost identical, don't they? But trust me, they mean two completely different things. The one on the left implies you have several managers, and you're pointing out which one was kind. Oh, the one who hired you. The sentence on the right, though, suggests you only have one manager, and you're just adding a little extra info about them.
So that first type, the one without commas, is called a defining clause. The information is essential. It answers the question, which one? Without it, the sentence doesn't fully make sense. In "the manager who hired me was kind," that clause defines the specific manager we're talking about. And because it's essential, no commas.
And that second type, that's a non-defining clause. This is just extra info. Think of it as a bonus fact. The main sentence works perfectly fine without it. If we say the manager was kind, the point still stands. The who hired me part is just a little aside. And because it's extra, you have to fence it in with commas.
This is it. If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. If the information is just an extra by the way kind of comment, it gets commas. If that information is absolutely crucial to identifying who or what you're talking about, no commas. Getting this right will make your writing so much clearer.
Okay, so we've got the comma rule down. Awesome. Now let's tackle the thing that trips up so many writers, choosing the right pronoun, especially when you're talking about things.
Here's the key distinction that a lot of people miss. Who is pretty flexible. You can use it for people with or without commas. But for things, the rule is much stricter. You use that for essential defining information, the stuff with no commas. And you use which for that extra, non-defining information that's always set apart by commas.
And this example just nails it. On the left, the well that is old ran dry. Tells us there are probably a few wells around, and we're talking specifically about the old one. But on the right, the well which is old ran dry means we're only talking about one well, and hey, by the way, it also happens to be old. See? The pronoun you choose changes everything.
All right, you've got the fundamentals. So let's wrap this up with a couple of pro tips to make your writing even sharper, plus a few common traps you'll definitely want to avoid.
Here's a great little trick for making your writing more punchy. It's called reducing a clause. A lot of the time, you can just chop out the pronoun and the verb, like who is or that was. It makes your sentences feel way more dynamic and efficient, which is a fantastic skill to have in any kind of professional writing.
This next one is all about knowing your audience. Where you stick your preposition can totally change the level of formality. In really formal or academic writing, you'll see the preposition come before the pronoun. To whom, for which. But in most everyday writing, it sounds much more natural to put it at the end. Knowing when to switch between them shows you can really adapt your tone.
And finally, just watch out for these common traps. First, don't try to cram too many of these clauses into one sentence. It gets confusing fast. Second, make sure your clause is actually attached to a full sentence, not just floating out there by itself.
And last, be sure the clause is right next to the noun it's talking about. Avoiding these pitfalls is absolutely crucial for clear writing. So, when you boil it all down, mastering relative clauses isn't really about memorizing a bunch of picky rules. It's about gaining precision. It's about being in complete control of your message so your reader knows exactly what you mean without any ambiguity.
So there you have it. The next time you're about to send an important email, just think about it. The difference between telling your boss about the report that is urgent versus the report which is urgent, well, that could change the entire priority of their day. It's those small choices that make all the difference.